We did the TV deal, now we're doing max youth rating and facilities and all that jazz. For Scandinavia, it's Norway, Sweden, Denmark in the triple threat that you've all been asking for. Have you? Some people have said do this with facilities, so there we go. All of you, this one's for you. And let me tell you, this one is sure to be a fun one. We've gone over 200 years into the future, so without further ado, let's get cracking and jump straight in and see how things are going. So yeah, in terms of Sweden, they're 23rd in the world. In terms of the league reputation, it's 24th, as we discovered last time, and we're halfway through the season. Yeah, it is what it is. And there you go. We're just looking through some of the teams' max facilities, as you can see. Norway are 43rd. Their league is 15th. Once again, max facilities, as you can see. Denmark, where are you, Denmark? Here we go. 19th in the world, and their league is 17th. So, in terms of their league reputation, they're all of a similar ilk, aren't they? And as you can see here, just quickly, and there you go. In terms of the coefficients, we've got Norway in 16th, Denmark in 17th, Sweden in 22nd. So, it's about where the leagues are as such. But you can see here, Sweden are in the race for an extra place in the nation coefficients. In terms of qualification place as well, that is where we're currently at. So that's all there is to it, really. Without further ado, we're going to jump forward 50 years in the future to begin with. I think the final year of this experiment is like 2239. It's like 215, 16 years-ish, I think. It's north of 200 years, though, so we're going to go 50, 50, and then 116, I think. So there we go. So let's go to 2073 and see who strikes first in this experiment of max youth rating and facilities and all that jazz. We're going to look at the reputations and stuff in a moment, but we're going to jump straight into the Conference League and see how we're getting on. And, well, we can't scroll down any further, so there are spoilers all over the screen here, but let's pretend there isn't. So Midtjylland were runners-up, but Bodo Glimt made it 1-0 to Norway. They struck first. Djurgården came runner-up before Norrköping equalised for Sweden, and then Midtjylland for Denmark, making it 1-1-1. Strømsgodset also getting runners-up, but there's no prizes for second place in this experiment. Norrköping with their second Conference League in the space of the decade. They made it 2-1-1 to Sweden, and we've got to wait a long time. We've got some runners up here, but we're waiting a long time for another win. And it's another one for Sweden. It's BK Häcken, the Burger King Häcken. That's what the BK stands for. Fact. Pipe down all the Swedish people, because between you and me, everyone else, it's not really. I nearly just ate the microphone. That's how close I got. So the Burger King Häcken made it 3-1-1. And that's where we end in terms of the Conference League. So it's first blood to Sweden. But we've got other trophies to look in on. But before we do that, if you like this kind of thing, you like this kind of experiment, you're loving the fact that I've gone to the effort of putting a scoreboard above my head, which, let me tell you, there's probably an easy way of doing it, but I am incompetent, so I just do it with Photoshop. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, and let me know other nations you'd like me to do this with. We do have simulated currently and ready to record Belgium versus Holland, so do not suggest that, because that is coming very, very soon when I can be bothered to edit it. But let me know other nations you want me to do, whether it be versus triple threats or whatever. But all I say is make sure they're of a similar sort of nation, a similar sort of ability. I don't want it to be San Marino versus England, for example, because I mean England are a bit OP on this, aren't they? Okay, so here we go then. We are in the Europa League, and I'm not sure. Look at that, Real Sociedad 3 times in a row, runner up. Unfortunate. AIK for Sweden. Sondal, runners up there. Sondal. It is Sondal because I've had a look on Google and I've asked Google to pronounce it. So there we go. Rosenborg as well, runner up to AIK. So Rosenborg could have taken it for Norway, but unfortunately AIK took it. So it's 1-0 to Sweden. So Sweden have really come out the gates flying in this first 50 years. Brøndby for Denmark. And then Rosenborg for Norway. So it's now 1-1-1 in terms of Europa Leagues. And is there going to be anyone who's going to take the lead? Look at all this. Look at Brøndby. 4 times runners up. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And Sondal making it 2-1-1 for Norway. I believe they are. Yes, they are. The Norwegian. And that is a strong moustache sideburn combo. Carsten Funch, you maverick. That is a strong statement facial hair, that is. You got to be confident to pull that bad boy off. And let me tell you, the Danish manager, Carsten Funch, should I say, taking a lead for Norway in the Europa League qualification spots. And as you can see here, the training facilities and youth facilities have fallen away somewhat. I forgot to do it, didn't I? at the start, I forgot to show you that they actually have 200 out of 200 for generated players as well. I think that goes without saying in these experiments. If you're new around here, the national teams have 200 for 200 on generated players. Just gone to Denmark, and there you go, youth rating 200. Spoiler, Denmark are 5th in the world. So we'll check in on that in a minute. But anyway, it's 2-1-1 to Norway in the Europa Leagues. Champions Leagues, I don't think there's going to be much happening. Arsenal won the first Champions League. Going through the next few years, though, we've got 3 for Real Madrid there. There's not a lot happening, to be perfectly frank, and 3 for PSG, 4 in a row for City. Yeah, no one's won a Champions League. A bit early for my money. I think we will get Champions Leagues, but it's probably going to be in the second 100 years. It's always been around the 150 year mark, really, in these experiments. And on the last Football Manager, when we did like up to 150 years, we were just starting to penetrate the Champions League. This year, because it simulates so much quicker, we're hitting 200 years easy. I could even do 250 on some of them, but I've got 3 leagues loaded with all the lower leagues as well, so it did take a bit of time to simulate this. So in appreciation of that, do drop a like on this video. I would appreciate it, as would Editor J, who is pissing about doing all the hard graft while I sit here and shout into a microphone like an idiot. I mean, I say Editor J, it's me. Shock. Literally not got someone called Jay who's an editor. It's just me. Just sit there at silly o'clock in the morning, holding a baby in one hand that's wriggling, editing with the other. The 5 a.m. shift. Woo! I am delirious. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the leagues then. And we're going to start with Norway. So the Norwegian Premier Division is 9th. And looking at the past winners, we've seen Sondal, Rosenborg, Molde, Bodø/Glimt, Brann. Interesting fact, that's where Bran flakes originate. Not. Molde, that's actually where mold originates. Again, it's not. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know why I'm going back this far. This is real life. So there we go. Brann, Molde, Rosenborg, Bodø/Glimt, Sondal, and Strømgodset have won 1. But yeah, it's been shared around a little bit. The Swedish Premier Division is in 10th in terms of reputation, and Djurgårdens, Norrköping, AIK. We have seen AIK be pretty successful. It's been passed around quite a bit up here. And Burger King Hacken, of course, over there. And Danish Superliga is in 6th. Copenhagen top, winning loads here. Nordsjælland, Brøndby, Midtjylland, and that's it. Yeah, so those 50 years, not a lot to sort of say in terms of the competition reputation. Then if we have a look at the rankings, we've got Denmark in 5th, Norway in 8th, and Sweden in 9th in terms of the nation ranking. The club coefficients, Denmark are in 6th, Sweden in 9th, Norway in 10th. So they've all moved up terrifically well. And we saw Denmark were in 5th. As discussed, Sweden are in 9th, and Norway are in 8th. Well, they were in 2nd, Norway. How's Sweden been doing? Sweden have been as high as 6th. So you're telling me there's a chance. We're going to go to the Euros first. Obviously, Germany won the Euros, so let's go through and have a look at that. Can't scroll down. So as you can see here, we've got Denmark in 2032 beating the Netherlands. And Denmark have won another 2 back-to-back here, Portugal and England in the final, and then Portugal lost again, this time to Norway, before they finally won against Germany. So 3 to Denmark, 1 to Norway, and that's where the Euros is finishing for the beginning interim. And again, we can't really scroll down in the World Cup, unfortunately, so this is far down as we can get, and as you can see, Norway did finish 3rd in 2026. Martin Ødegaard and Erling Haaland will have had some part to play, but maybe some of the youngsters had come through. Sweden runner-up in 2038, Norway runner-up in 2054, Sweden 3rd in 42 as well. Denmark runner-up against Brazil most recently, but as it stands, no World Cups in this opening 50 years. So if I look at the scoreboard that is in front of me, above my head for you guys, it's a very high-tech scoreboard. It's a notepad. So it's 3-1-1 to Sweden in Conference Leagues. It's 2-1-1 to Norway in Europa Leagues. Champions Leagues and World Cups are at a stalemate with no wins at all yet. And in the European Championships, it's 3-1-0 to Denmark. So every nation has the edge in one competition. But for me, the European Championships is the best competition of those 3 where there is a score for all teams. Therefore, I will declare Denmark the winners of the opening 50 years. So there is still plenty of time to go, but before we do that, let's have a look at some of the best players in the game. The potential ability, well, the best player on the game for the potential ability could be Alan Garcia for Pachuca. He's unambitious though, so I don't know if he's going to make it. I guess he almost is certainly not. So in terms of current ability then, the best player on the game currently is Solo Saulo, whatever you want to say, for Real Madrid, the Brazilian, on 600 Gs a week, moved for 137 million from PSG. Speaking of PSG, you've got Junki Sakamoto, who went there for 4.4 million from Hiroshima, and he's at 189. David Teixeira at 189. A couple of Spanish players here, Belgium, and the first time we see someone is our left back, Thomas Skipper for Borussia Dortmund, a Dane, at 21 as well. And then we've got a Swedish player, a striker, Thomas Larsson for Barcelona at 177. He's very good, isn't he? Very good aerially. Anyway, we've got plenty of time to go in the experiment. We're not going to go down and look at this in too much depth. Just wanted to see the best couple of players and see who they're playing for. Denmark and Sweden. It's 2073. It's going to be 21-23 when we return with the power of editing. And here we go. We're back. So, we're going to go straight into it. Competition reputation. The competition reputation is as follows. The Danish 3F Superliga is in 5th, down from 4th. The Norwegian Premier Division is in 7th, remaining in 7th. And the Swedish Premier Division is still in 9th. It was in 9th previously as well. In terms of the nation club coefficients, 4th for Denmark, 7th for Sweden, 8th for Norway. International rankings, we've got no one's first. What? Spain are 2nd, England are 3rd, Sweden are 5th, Norway are 6th, Denmark are equal 10th. So that's not looking good for Denmark, despite the fact that they were leading in terms of Euros. So we'll see. We will see. Let's hope they've managed to do something. We're not going to mess around here. We're going to stop in on the shortlist here. We're going to look at the current ability. And the best player in the world right now is a central midfielder. It's Ron Halimi. He's wanted by Al Hilal. He's 30 years old. He plays for Tottenham Hotspur. 123 million pounds from Ajax. They paid for him, and he is fantastic. Ajax paid 34.5 million pounds from Malmo as well. Going down the list, we've got, FC Copenhagen have actually got Arno Ragnarsson, the goalkeeper from Iceland, who is pretty filthy. But then the next player for one of the 3 nations in Scandinavia that we are focusing in on, it's Denmark. It's Christian Kobernagel, 176. I mean, a 176 doesn't hit as hard as a 180 odd. And we've got Kevin Evien here for Barcelona. Yeah, he's pretty good. Luis Gonzaga is actually playing for Nordsjælland. He's a Brazilian centre-back. He's very good as well. There's a polygon in that. Anyway, right, let's go to the Conference League and see how we're getting on. And of course, we were last here and we saw Burger King Häcken had won. Lazio played West Ham the following season and managed to take the victory themselves. And we're going to just start scrolling up. And it was 3-1-1, but Rosenborg have made it 3-2-1. Pulling one back for Norway. And they're at it again. Rosenborg, this time beating Norrköping, getting revenge from when they lost, I think, to AIK. Was it in this or was it in the Europa League? They certainly lost in the final, did Rosenborg. Speaking of losing in the final, we've got AC Horsens, whoever they are, and we've got 3 in a row. AIK, Lyngby for Denmark, AIK and Norrköping for Sweden. Rosenborg making it 3-3-1, pulling them level. Well, we've got a double trouble here. Burger King Häcken and AGF. Well, that's Sweden and Denmark both getting one on the scoreboard. That now makes it 4-3-2, ladies and gentlemen. Bran Flakes have managed to get one for Norway, making it 4-4-2. It's now a formation. How odd, eh? Bang! It's 4-5-2. Brøndby, 4-5-3. AGF making it 4-5-4. Norrköping for Sweden beating Molde in the final. It's all kicking off. 5-5-4. Molde, 5-6-4. And a few more runners up. I'm out of breath. Oh, so it's 5 for Sweden, 6 for Norway, 4 for Denmark. So it's very close indeed. But Norway edge the Conference Leagues as it stands. And of course, there we are. Sondal had just won, and that made it 2-1-1 to Norway. So moving through the next few years, then we got Brøndby straight off the bat. That's for Denmark. That's 2-2-1. Brøndby again making it 3. And nothing else is happening. We're just getting loads of runners up here. AGF, Denmark. That's 4-2-1. And here we are at present day. Denmark have taken the lead and comfortable lead by 2 tournament wins in the Europa League. And again, Champions League, I'm not expecting too much to happen. Look at that, 3 in a row for Tottenham. I'm not expecting too much to happen, so we're just going to scroll through this quite quickly as I waffle. And the waffling is complete. And look at that. The only time we've seen anyone do anything, it's runner-up for FC Copenhagen, but we're starting to penetrate. So last time we were here, as you can see, we've got up to this point. It was 3 wins for Denmark and it was 1 win for Norway, none for Sweden. And as you can see here, Norway have managed to get themselves a win, runner-up in 2080. Denmark in 2084, another win. That's 4 for them. Norway bouncing back, now 4-2. Sweden not even on the scoreboard. Denmark runner-up. Denmark have just won another 2. It's 6-2. And a run-up for Sweden. Well, there you go then. It is 6-2-0. So So Denmark are winning Europa Leagues at this point and winning Euros. So Denmark are very much in the driver's seat. In terms of World Cups then, we last saw a few runners-up and we saw Denmark were runners-up the previous tournament, and they continued their golden generation with great form, and they broke the World Cup deadlock of Scandinavia. 1-0, 2-0. They beat Brazil in the final in 2078, Sweden finishing in third, run-up again in 2086, run-up again in 2098, Sweden getting an international tournament for the first time, 2102, Denmark beating Norway in the final. It's all gone off here. Denmark beating Norway in the final, 3-1-0, and Norway run up there. Look at that, Sweden, third place 3 times in a row. Madness. Well, as we stand, we've got Denmark winning in World Cups, Euros, Europa Leagues, and they're very close in terms of Conference League. So Denmark, at the 100-year point, are still winning, ladies and gentlemen. On we move to the very end of the experiment, 22-30-something. See you in a second. It was 22-39, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to check in on some of the best players in the world. And look at this. Top player, Danish, Marcus Mengel, playing for AIK in the Swedish Premier Division. He's at 186. He's not the best player, actually. Best potential player at 197. Let's just look at that. 199 goalkeeper. PSG. Of course it's PSG. The second best player on the game at 188 is Rolf Magnet Langford, Villarreal. He's playing for. He's very good. Very good indeed. Playing for Norway. You've got Marcus Mengel for AIK. Danish player at 186. We just saw him in it. Eric Evanson of FC Fredericia. Guy Diane playing for Molde, and he's Swedish. They're moving around Scandinavia, and you've got a couple more here, Norway and Sweden. Look at Danish, 3 in a row for Norway, Danish, and another one for Norway. We've got so many. Another one for Sweden here, Axel Asp. So Scandinavia are probably taking over in terms of international accolades. We will see. That will be coming at the end. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at the league coefficients. Well, the 3F Superliga is first. The Swedish Premier Division is 5th. The Norwegian Premier Division is 8th. And as Denmark were winning, all I'm saying is they probably have won this experiment. But in terms of coefficients, Denmark are 4th, Sweden is 6th, Norway are 9th. So I'll be honest with you, I mean, it's only for the last 5 years, that is, so it doesn't really tell you too much. But, you know, Denmark are leading the way somewhat. But that doesn't mean anything, really. Like, they could have 3 teams that get to, like, the quarterfinals and 2 in the semi-finals. It means nothing in this experiment. Norway could be down here because all their teams get eliminated in the group stage except one who goes on and wins it. In my table, Norway are winning that one. So, Conference League it is. Aken came runner-up to Sassuolo as we would have returned, and we continue with this next 116 years. The current scores are 5 for Sweden, 6 for Norway, and 4 for Denmark. And there we go, Molde straight away getting a 7th on the board for Norway. FC Fredericia, which I believe is the first time we've seen them in a winning column, for Denmark, which makes it 5-7-5, I believe. Djurgårdens, the Swedish team, 6-7-5. And nothing's happening here up until we see Brann beating Haken in the final. So Brann for Norway, Helsingør for Denmark, and Copenhagen for Denmark. Well, that now makes it 6-8-7, I believe, if my maths are correct. If they're wrong, the scoreboard above will be correct because I'll be adding it as we go. But I might have lost count as I'm actually going. I will be going back and checking all these and cross-referencing for the scoreboard. So if I've said it wrong and it's right, it'll be right on the scoreboard. That's all you need to know. Gefle for Sweden, 7-8-7. Fredericia, Denmark, 7-8-8. Fredericia again, 7-8-9. Gothenburg for Sweden, 8-8-9. Strømgodset, 8-9-9. Elfsborg for Sweden, it is 9 all. 9 for Sweden, 9 for Norway, 9 for Denmark. I don't know why I'm building it up like there's tension, because you see it as well as I do. The next team that's won it is bloody Molde. It's 10 for Norway. Malmo, 10 for Sweden. Brann, 11 for Norway. Norrköping, 11 for Sweden. And we're closing in on the end. Malmo making it 12. And Sweden win 12-11-9 in terms of Conference League. So Denmark are bottom of the Conference League pile. But there is time and other tournaments. This is the tournament that carries the least weight, in my opinion, because we've got Champions Leagues to come, and some teams will have won Champions Leagues, almost certainly. Okay, so here we go in the Europa League then. So last time the scores finished: Denmark 4, Norway 2, Sweden 1, and let's get straight through. AIK for Sweden, 4-2-2. AIK again, 4-2-3. AGF, 5 for Denmark. Copenhagen, 6. Fredericia, 7. Hacken, 4 for Sweden. Brøndby, making it 8 for Denmark. Malmo, Sweden again. It's 5-2-8 here. Hacken, Molde, Malmo, Brøndby, Malmo, 8-3-9. AIK, 9-3-9. Rosenborg, 9-4-9. Midtjylland have won the most recent, getting double figures for Denmark. Midtjylland getting double figures for Denmark. It's 9 for Sweden, 4 for Norway, 10 for Denmark. Well, Sweden are probably just edging it at the moment. Champions League then. And we saw runners up for Copenhagen. There's no Champions Leagues to speak of at all. Who will break the deadlock? If anyone. Someone please break the deadlock. Brøndby have come run up. AGF have come run up. And AGF have finally won it. AGF for Denmark, giving them the lead. And then Molde for Norway, getting them on the score sheet. AIK with 2 in a row. 1-1, 2-1-1. AIK making it 3, and Sweden are making a play. Atletico Madrid are winning so many trophies here. Nordsjælland can't win it for love nor money. Runners up so many times. Midtjylland making it 2 for Denmark. Nordsjælland making it 3 for Denmark. They finally won it. A few runners up for Sweden, but Nordsjælland with so many runners up. The runners up, then they won it the following season. Hacken making it 4 for Sweden. Midtjylland making it 4 for Denmark. It's 4-1-4 now, and Midtjylland have got another 2 in a row. 5 for Denmark, and wow, look at that. Barcelona have won 5 of the last 6. And they were in the final when they lost it to Villarreal. So 5 for Denmark, 4 for Sweden. So Denmark beating Sweden by a singular tournament win once again. So domestically, Denmark have probably taken this one, but we've still got international to go. In terms of the world ranking, well, the 3 teams are the top 3 nations in the world. We saw the shortlist and we thought it might be the case. Norway first, Denmark second, Sweden in third. And there are 90 points. I don't know what quantifies those points, but there are 90 points that separate those 3 teams. The team further back in fourth, which is Portugal, are 202 points behind. So these 3 are considerably far out in front. If you go 202 points back from Portugal, you're talking, well, it's the rest of the top 10, really, isn't it? Poland are more than 202 points further back. Italy are closer than 202. Anyway, that's by the by. Let's go and have a look at the Euros. We'll go via Spain because we do not want any spoilers. And we were last here. It was 6 for Denmark and 2 for Norway. And I mean, Sweden had just got a runners up, but unfortunately, Sweden, whilst they're doing well domestically, they just missed out against Denmark. They need to do a hell of a lot to even catch up, never mind overtake Denmark. They started off in style, though, with a tournament win, their first Euros against England in 21-24. Oh, runner up, England getting revenge in 21-32. Sweden need a few more tournament wins. Norway runner up, Sweden runner up, Norway runner up. Sweden won again, so now it's 6-2-2. Runner up again, Sweden need to turn these runners up into wins. Look at that, 4 times they've been runner up in 50 years. Oh, and they've run up again to Norway. Norway have beaten them. That makes it 3 for Norway now, the first of this 100-year spell. Wait, what, 40-odd years for a win, and 2 come along at once. 21-72, Norway making it 6-4-2. Them being the 4. Denmark getting themselves off the mark. They're now on 7 European Championships. Norway getting to 5. Oh my word. Sweden have come runner-up to England, France, Portugal and Spain in a 20-odd year period. 4 times they've been runner-up. Denmark again is at 8 for Denmark. 9 for Denmark there. Norway again making it 6 for them. Sweden is at 3 and 4. Sweden runner-up there as well. Sweden beating Norway and Denmark, to be fair, so they actually have got a bit of revenge. Denmark beat Norway as well back here. Look at that. In the last sort of 30 years, 40 years, there's been almost someone in the final every single time. France v Portugal was the only time. And then before that, you have to go back to 21-84, which is 50 years ago. How about that then? And then 2 tournaments, and then you got 1, 2, 3, another 3. So anyway, in all that commotion, we've got all those tournament wins. 4 wins for Sweden, 6 for Norway, 9 for Denmark. So if Denmark had just nicked it domestically, internationally, they are considerably clear. Now, the World Cup, in my opinion, does hold greater weight. However, Denmark will have to lose this World Cup run by at least 2, maybe 3, depending on how it goes down. So it's all to play for still. It is all to play for, but I think Denmark might have this one in the bag. Because last time, yes, Norway were runners-up to Brazil, and the score was 1 for Sweden, none for Norway, and 3 for Denmark. Well, Sweden get their second straight off the bat. Runner-up again. Norway have got one. That's their first World Cup. Then Sweden beating Denmark. Sweden runners up. Then Denmark. Norway. So that's now 3 for Sweden, 2 for Norway, 3 for Denmark. No, run up for Denmark there against Netherlands. Norway. Is that 3-3-3? It's 3 apiece in World Cups. 4 for Norway. They're going to backdoor shuffle it here. Beating Denmark in the final. Denmark third place 4 tournaments in a row as well. Didn't notice that. Oh, and Sweden and Denmark have both in back-to-back tournaments have got themselves back in it. So it's 4-all. Sweden beating Norway in 22-30. Sweden getting the 5th tournament. They might have snuck the World Cups. Look at that. All 3 top 3. Sweden beating Norway, 3rd place Denmark. And then Norway have beaten Denmark in the final. It's 5-5-4. Denmark have beaten France. Oh my God. So Denmark have gone 3rd, 2nd, 1st. And that's it. We're at present day. That is 5-5-5 in terms of World Cups. 15 World Cups between them. Split evenly. I was going to say right down the middle, but not. Split in thirds because there's 3 of them. So that's it. The end of today's experiment, ladies and gentlemen. And the World Cups was a draw. It was 5 apiece. The Euros, Denmark won comfortably by 3 tournaments. Congratulations, Denmark. Champions Leagues, Denmark won by 1. In terms of Europa Leagues, Denmark also won by 1. However, they did beat Sweden in those 2, and they beat Norway considerably. And when it came to Euros, they actually beat Sweden by 5 and Norway by 3. So where Norway did better, they did considerably worse than the others, which meant the gap sort of opens up a bit. Denmark were consistent throughout every tournament. The only time they didn't do anything, the only tournament they didn't win or draw was Conference Leagues, and they still got 9. They're only 3 behind. So, yeah, Denmark have won the Scandinavian experiment. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned earlier, do let me know in the comments down below about nations you'd like me to do this with. Mainly a versus. 1-on-1 is great. I'll happily do a triple threat, but it has to make sense. Scandinavia, in my opinion, does make sense. I probably could have incorporated like outer Scandinavia, like Iceland and whatever in. We'll say that do need the teams to be relatively evenly matched in terms of national team and league reputation. Nothing too disparate, nothing too out there, because otherwise it's going to be just a bloodbath, isn't it? And it's going to be boring. You're going to see like one nation have like 25 tournament wins to the other nations like none, and you're like, well, it's over. We want it to be entertaining. We want it to be close. This was close. I had a riot doing this one. I hope you did too. If you enjoyed it, drop a like on it. Let me know in the comments what you did and what you didn't enjoy. Do take good care of yourselves, gang. Let me know which ones you want me to do in the future. Stay on the channel and watch this video. Most importantly, take good care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.